Welcome class back to Project 2, Data Visualization. This is the second video and this is going to cover this section on random walks, which is going to be pages 315 through 323. So ignore the page number that you see down here in the bottom right corner. In our second edition book, it's page 315 through page 323. So what I'm going to do is just kind of step through each page and just kind of give you points along the way. I don't have saved versions of every result, and so we'll just look at random walk. So random walk has practical applications in nature, physics, biology, chemistry, and economics. So for example, a pollen grain floating on a drop of water moves across the surface of the water because it's constantly pushed around by water molecules. Molecular motion in water drops is random, so the path a pollen grain traces on the surface is a random walk. So there's many real-world situations that random walks could be applied to. So what we begin with on page 316 is we begin with the random walk file. Okay, so wherever it tells you to go ahead and test, that's where you definitely want to test. So just a little bit about the code. When you have black code, okay, so black code in the book means that it's either new code or code that needs to be modified. So sometimes it just needs to be modified, and so if it looks like something you've typed already, you just want to look to see what is the update in that particular line. Okay, so we set up the random underscore walk file, and then at the bottom of page 317, we set up the RW underscore visual file. Okay, so this is going to give the visual graph that we're actually going to see. Okay, so as before in the first video, I said make sure that as you're reading through the material, so like on middle of page 317, how it explains the code. So it says at line 1, we set up a loop that runs until the walk is filled with the correct number of points. Okay, so here is the loop that they're talking about. Now I realize at this point we're not into loops in our chapters, but we will be getting there, and we'll be getting there soon. So this just says while the length of x values is up here, is less than the number of points. Okay, so while that is true, we continue to do all these statements in the body section. So if you want to put those comments in here, so this one is kind of self-explanatory, but if you have a better way of wording it to yourself, you can go ahead and add in those comments. Okay, number 2 says next choice 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 tells Python how far to move in that direction, the x distance, by randomly selecting an integer between 0 and 4. So it's talking about, and I think this is the choice one right here. Again, this is the completed through page 323, so I apologize if it doesn't look exact. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the visual. So when you get the visual on page 318, that's when you're going to go ahead and send me, or actually, yeah, send me a screenshot. So I want a screenshot of every step along the way. Whenever you see a visual in the book, I want to see your visual. Okay, and then you're going to send both of these files to me as well. Okay, so let's look at the bottom of page 318. Okay, so it says it has a black code in there, but the other code is gray. So when I insert that code, I'm going to look for the previous line, okay, previous line to the black code, and that's where I'm going to insert it. Okay, so keep making new walks as long as the program is active, while true. So these two statements were then added to the visual file. Okay, then down here we have some more that is added. When we get into the bottom of page 319, okay, so you're looking for fig x, so then this is what you're going to be looking for adding. And again, this again is completed code, so it's not exact as what is on page 319. Now, before I jump out of page 319, this is where we're going to be allowed to be prompt to actually build another random walk. Okay, so we can build the visual, and then we prompt them, do they want to make another walk, and we build another one. In Sublime, if that's your editor, you will not be able to test that. Okay, so the reason you can't is because it doesn't have the prompt ability. So you have two choices. If you're a Genie editor, you can run it here, Okay, so if I click on Execute in Genie, gives me my plot. Once I close this window out, it prompts me, do I want another walk? And I can say yes or no. Sublime, you cannot do that functionality. Okay, and then I can say no here, and then that'll be the end, and I hit enter. Now, if you don't want to install the Genie editor, okay, you can do it another way. You can use the command prompt to run this rw_visual py file. You just have to know the location of where it's at. Okay, so my location is C drive, users, then I go, I believe I have it on my desktop, and then it is data visualization. I have chapter 2, I've kind of separated these out. And so I would go right click on the chapter 2 address, I would copy address as text, and then I'm going to go to my terminal or my command prompt, and I'm going to go CD space, and then I'm going to paste in. Let's see if I can paste it in here. I might have to copy it as address. Copy address instead. Okay, there we go. And hit enter. Now once I'm in the directory where RW Visual is located, and I can do a dir to make sure that it's there, all I have to do is do rwvisual.py and run it. Does the same thing that we saw here in the Genie environment. Okay, gives me the prompt, and I say yes, it runs again another one. And when I say no, we're done and we're back to a prompt. So 2 ways if you're a Sublime user. You can use the terminal, you get to your location and run it from there, or if you're a Genie user, you don't have to do anything. Okay, you can just run your files as you've always run your files. Okay, again, I want screenshots, so when I'm looking at this, so far I can see 1, 2, and they don't have all the visuals in there, but just send me as many screenshots, so every time it tells you to run RW Visual, please send them to me. Again, just a reminder, when you're looking at the code in the book, if it is black code, it's either a new line, you need to look at the previous line to see where you need to insert it, or it could be making an update to an existing line. So for example, on the bottom of page 321, I'm looking at ax.scatter, okay, and that's where this s value became 1. Okay, so again, it might be an existing line. Okay, if you run into any issues, just please let me know. Send me those screenshots and a zip file with these 2 files, and that's it. Thank you.